Try this again.
Awesome. My name is Gareth. You're watching the Hub Online Network. It is episode 37 of the Ash Creek News, and we got a lot of stuff to get through. We're talking cannabis in Cache Creek. We're talking breaking news with our local MLA, not MLA, MP, Brad Viss. And we got lots of other things going on just in Ashcroft alone, so let's get to it. All right, so let's start off with a little bit of Ashcroft stuff. So this is off of the Ashcroft Village Facebook page. They say that if the COVID-19 virus is causing you increased stress, as it is for people all across British Columbia, there are resources available to help. It's not always easy to stay calm. Some things that may be able to help include maintain a routine, limit your media intake, keep connected, get some fresh air, take advantage of downtime, keep perspective, and ask for help. And if you need any help or assistance, I think that there is still a Ashcroft community group that is out there helping people. And you can email us at hon@ashcrofthub.com for that information on how to get a hold of them. Ashcroft Village keeps saying, have you picked up your free water conservation kit at the Village of Ashcroft? There's all kinds of cool stuff inside, easily to help you lower your water usage and pay less. Now, we're actually going to pick up one of those things for Friday's show, and we'll show you guys what's inside the kit. The Hub Online Network was approached by the newly formed Slough Society. I was invited on a walk with a few members of the group to get to the slough from a nearby boat launch. The path we took goes down and underneath a train bridge. The first part of the walk was fairly easy, but then I turned a corner and the path was simply just rocks. Now, granted, I had a camera in my hand, but this walk felt pretty dangerous. It was a slow go for myself. And what we're going to be doing, we have it all recorded. So we're going to have a larger video that we're going to have on our YouTube channel this week showing this walk. It was pretty epic for myself. My feet are 2 sizes too big to walk on this kind of terrain. And by the end of it, I was pretty winded and pretty sweaty. With everything else going on with my foot, it was not a good thing for me to do, but I did it. That being said, if you want more information on what's going on with the slough and the newly formed Ashcroft Slough Society, you can check them out on Facebook. They are looking for new members, and they will have a video made for Thursday, I believe. We have that ready for them. And we're going to do an interview with them about what's going on with the slough some point next week. So stay tuned for that. We're actually hoping to get the terminal to do an interview with us as well. So Terminal, if you're watching and I haven't sent you an email yet, please get back to us. So according to the Ashcroft Slough Society's Facebook page, one avenue that they are pursuing is called the Land of they're calling the Land of the Slough a heritage site. The Slough Society says that besides buildings, the registry allows trails, landscapes, monuments, even languages and cultural practices to be included. Anything that the village feels that contributes to the community's unique identity. Worthwhile enough to pass on to future generations. It is undeniable that the slough has significant cultural, historical, educational, ecological, geographical, social, artistic, recreational, or economic value to people living in the area and to those who visit. So again, this is from the Facebook page. A community heritage register does not affect land title. It simply is a tool for local government to identify heritage sites for planning purposes, to promote research opportunities, to develop a sense of pride and stewardship, and to stimulate tourist activity. Most heritage sites are privately owned, as are the slough properties, but the registry does not require agreement from the property owner for the heritage source to be added as a listing. By formally recognizing and celebrating the slough's contribution to our collective memory, we can preserve our history as well as foster a sense of well-being within our community. Anyway, the Ashcroft Slough Society is fighting for a more reasonable access to the slough path that sits just on the other side of the railroad tracks. However, this would require the Ashcroft terminal and the railways to agree to either a foot traffic overpass over the tracks or a tunnel that goes under the tracks. At this point, the terminal has sought out input from the local villages and citizens, but the Slough says that they feel that they aren't being. The Slough Society says that they feel that they aren't being heard. And again, we will have an interview with those members of the group in the near future, and hopefully the terminal as well. Now, Troy was there with me. Troy's not on camera, but he was there with me that day. You saw my face. Was it chuckle-worthy or?
I wouldn't say it was chuckle-worthy, but you could definitely see that it's not a path for people who are inexperienced.
Yeah.
Like even for myself, like I didn't have proper footwear on. I couldn't get a lot of traction. I watched rocks tumble off into the river, and I was like, no thanks.
The people that we went with were gone pretty quick. They did not wait for me, which was fine. Like I was going at my own pace, but they were gone. They must travel that particular pathway 2 or 3 times a week.
Like you say, that camera though was probably a hindrance, like because they've got their poles, so they can get a bit more of that 3 points of contact. Where for you it was almost like a what's that, with the trapeze act or whatever?
Oh yeah,
tightrope. You looked like you were bouncing on a tightrope.
Anyway, overall, it was an interesting experience, and I appreciate the fact that I got to go. Although we didn't go all the way down to the slough, but maybe if overpass ever, I don't think I would do that path again. But if overpass ever does come in, we'll go check that out for a video. Coming in from Cache Creek, we have an update from Joan Henderson in regards to the Equality Project. So she says, "Hi Gareth, we are looking for people who especially need groceries or meals to make ends meet, or because they are unable to actually cook for themselves. We have received word from Food Rescue saying that we will be receiving an order of food to reach out to people in need. We hope many who need help with extra food will be able to come to the Equality Project to pick up their food. But if you know about shut-ins, disabled peoples, or people without transportation, you can call 250-457-6485 and get a hold of the Equality Project." She continues to say that we can try to get food brought to them. We may be looking for extra drivers. We understand that we'll be receiving a regular, weekly, or monthly order depending on what they receive. We expect to get our first order this next week, and we continue to seek to serve people. So that is absolutely awesome. Thank you guys very much for everything you're doing at the Equality Project, and send us your updates as much as you want, and we will talk about it on our show. Now, some other interesting things going on in Cache Creek include, so this is from the Cache Creek Village office. So they are promoting Canada United, which is trying to get out small businesses apply for a relief grant now. So they say that we are currently accepting applications from small businesses for a relief grant of up to $5,000. The relief grant can be used for COVID-19 recovery efforts, such as purchasing PPE, renovating physical spaces, or developing e-commerce capabilities. You can learn more about the Canada United Small Business Relief Fund, and you can review the pre-application checklist, which you can find on the Cache Creek Info Facebook page. So that is awesome. That was also shared by Community Futures Sun Country. So thank you guys for sharing that. Another thing that's going on in the village of Cache Creek is the village is undertaking a planning process to develop and implement regulations that align with federal and provincial government legislation for licensed cannabis businesses, retail, and production. A municipal framework will allow us to regulate the industry at the local level, provide opportunities for legal cannabis business, should the community be supportive, and better support the province federal government with compliance and enforcement measures. So the village of Cache Creek says, "We want to hear from you. Do you support federally and provincially licensed cannabis retail stores in the village of Cache Creek? What are your thoughts on cannabis production?" So you can go to www.surveymonkey.com/r/Cache Creek. Or you can access a hard copy of this survey from the Village of Cache Creek, but I have the survey here. So I'm going to see if Troy can help me once we get down to the actual questions. So it says, Cannabis FAQ. Prior to completing the survey, please take some time to read through the Cannabis frequently asked questions to inform your survey responses. The FAQ is available. There's a link to the FAQ. Project background. The Village of Cache Creek is undertaking a planning process to develop a regulatory framework for the retail sales and production of federally, provincially licensed and regulated cannabis businesses. Currently, there are no municipal level regulations to deal with legal or illegal cannabis businesses within the village. The framework will help us to regulate this industry in Cache Creek in accordance with federal and provincial legislation. Community engagement. The purpose of the survey is to collect input from people who live and work in the Village of Cache Creek to determine if the community is supportive of pursuing federally, provincially licensed and regulated cannabis businesses in Cache Creek. Municipal regulations will be informed by community input and taken to public hearing later in this fall before adoption by council. All survey responses will be coded for privacy. Please complete and submit your survey by 4 p.m. September 25th. And if you are a local business owner, you can sign up for an interview about your thoughts on cannabis businesses and consumption by contacting the village at 250-457-6237. So at this moment, here are the questions. Are you a resident of Cache Creek?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
So we're going to fill this out for Troy. No. What is your age range? 18, 24, 25, 34, 35, 44.
35 to 44.
Do you own a business in the Village of Cache Creek?
I do not.
Are you interested in opening a licensed cannabis-related business in the Village of Cache Creek?
I'd be interested, but I don't have the knowledge or skill to professionally do it.
But you would be interested?
If I knew how to do it, I would.
That's
yeah.
all they're asking is interest.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 areas of concern related to cannabis in Cache Creek? So we can select up to 3. Neighbors who grow or smoke cannabis, such as odors, etc. Operation of cannabis stores, i.e. hours of operation. Youth access to cannabis. Number of cannabis businesses in Cache Creek. Public health impacts. Cannabis store signage and advertising. The location of the cannabis store, cannabis-related crime, public smoking and vaping of cannabis, odor, etc., or I am not concerned about cannabis legislation.
What are my concerns?
Yeah, so you can pick up to 3, or you can choose I am not concerned about anything.
I mean, me personally, any of those I'm not concerned of. That's me personally, but...
if there is 3 things that... No, okay, well, it's...
Or do you want to go through them one by one?
Well, so neighbors who grow or smoke cannabis.
I mean, they're going to do it whether they have a legitimate business or not. That's just always going to be a thing. But if you're giving the community the option, I use the legalized facilities for my personal usage, and it just gives me that extra bit of I don't have to worry about is it cut with anything or anything like that. I can just go in, pick what I want.
Are you worried about youth access to cannabis?
I personally don't think the stores would have that impact because just like anything, just like alcohol's always been, youth are going to have access regardless if you put it. They already have access to it somewhere. In a facility like this, as long as they're doing it properly, there shouldn't be any youth access to it and any other limitations that you would see from a liquor store because you got to show ID, you got to go through the whole process. It's not like kids can just walk in and pick and buy.
What about cannabis-related crime?
I think more of the crime that's related to cannabis is for stuff that isn't in control. That's more crime. I feel is more related to not having any control within it. So I don't think that's going to have any impact on.
Cannabis store signage and advertising.
I can't see why that would be, unless they put a giant neon sign that beacons the whole town of Cache Creek, but I doubt they would do anything like that.
So I'm going to put you down for I am not concerned about cannabis legislation. Okay, so cannabis retail sales. In BC, recreational cannabis sales are regulated through the Liquor and Cannabis Regulation Branch of the provincial government. Every proposed cannabis retail store will require a license from the provincial government and will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Stores, public and private, will only be approved with support from local government. Community members will have an opportunity to provide input on each application for a store. Cannabis retail stores must meet all local, provincial, and federal regulations. So, do you support the retail sale of cannabis in Cache Creek? Yes or no?
Yes.
If the community feels provincially licensed cannabis retail stores should be permitted in the village of Cache Creek, is there anywhere outside of the downtown area that would make sense for them to be located?
Outside of the downtown?
Yeah, if the community feels provincially licensed cannabis retail stores should be permitted in the village of Cache Creek, is there anywhere outside of the downtown that would make sense for them to be located?
I can't think of anywhere outside of downtown that isn't like Stage Road or on
Just-
the outskirts.
Just homes and
Yeah.
and stuff.
Unless they're talking about like near down at the back end, like Petrocan on your way out, like kind of in that emptier where
I would-
motels. But I've always considered the whole strip downtown.
Yeah.
And personally, to me, like the downtown of Cache Creek could use more businesses regardless. Like, so having it downtown makes the most sense.
So I'm going to put no.
Yeah, I don't know what they would consider downtown, uptown.
If the community supports cannabis retail stores, do you think there should be a cap on the number of licensed stores in the village of Cache Creek? They do have 2 liquor stores.
Yeah. I think if anything, I mean, there's definitely a limit of how many a town of that size would ever need. So I don't think you need a surplus of them. But like any kind of business, like a gas station, I mean, option. So if you have one that's like the BC cannabis store, and then you have something that's kind of like the independent licensed,
Right.
I don't see any issue there. But I can't see Cache Creek needing more than 2. I think Clinton has 2 though, doesn't it? I know they have 1 for sure, but I think they might actually have 2.
I don't know.
But I can't see it needing.
So
Whereas
the
Kamloops seems to have like 3 in every
other block.
every block. Yeah.
So the question here is, if the community supports cannabis retail stores, do you think that there should be a cap on the number of licensed stores? Yes. Okay. If you answered yes to the above, what is the maximum number of licensed cannabis retail stores you believe belong in the village of Cache Creek? 1, 2, or other?
Probably 2.
2?
I don't see why you'd need more than 2 for.
10. If there is more than 1 licensed cannabis retail store in Cache Creek, do you think there needs to be a buffer between them? For example, if there was a 50-meter buffer and a cannabis retail store was to locate downtown, another cannabis retail store could not locate within 50 meters of that store.
I think just on a business practice that makes sense. I mean, if you put them next door to each other, that doesn't make sense. So yeah.
If licensed cannabis retail stores were permitted in the village of Cache Creek, should there be a buffer from the cannabis store to facilities catering to youth, including the community hall, elementary school, and park?
Yeah, I mean, the same. I think liquor stores have that, don't they? Where they can't.
The liquor store, yeah, they're at least 50 meters away.
Yeah, that would make the same sense to follow those guidelines if those are actual guidelines.
So, cannabis production. Under federal legislation, all producers of cannabis or cannabis products for profit are required to have a federal license to operate and are known as licensed producers. The Government of Canada oversees the application process and stringent health, odor mitigation, safety, and security requirements for those individuals or entities who produce legal cannabis. Federally licensed producers must meet all local, provincial, and federal regulations. Similar to beer or alcohol production, there are different scales in cannabis production businesses. So like small craft breweries, there are also smaller cannabis producers that are considered to be micro cultivators. and grow on a smaller scale. These producers are licensed for less than 2,100 square feet or 200 square meters of cultivation space, averaging about 400 plants, and are limited to produce 600 kilograms of cannabis per year under federal licenses. So the question now is, do you support federally licensed cannabis production businesses in Cache Creek? No, yes, but only a small scale, micro cultivation. Yes, I support cannabis production at all scales, micro cultivation, industrial scale, or unsure.
I mean, I'm not against it. I don't know about large scale, but I feel like a small scale would be fitting. And then, you know, you're basically supporting a business through a business, right? You have your own stuff being produced here. I mean, seems to make
So micro
yeah.
cultivation?
Yeah, I'd say.
If federally licensed cannabis production is permitted in Cache Creek, which areas of the village do you feel are most appropriate? Industrial areas, agricultural areas, downtown, unsure, or other? Please specify.
This is again to where it.
So this is like the location of where someone could grow.
Oh, where they could grow. I mean, I would say industrial to. I mean, you could even do it somewhere on the strip. I mean, right now there's lots of real estate for that kind of anything that you can put on that strip again. I'm sure would be great.
So can I pick more than one?
Yeah, my answers aren't really yes or no.
What about agricultural areas?
Yeah, I mean,
Like if someone were to buy a farm.
why not? Yeah.
Okay. The Agricultural Land Commission does not allow municipalities to prohibit licensed cannabis production within the Agricultural Land Reserve, or ALR. Municipalities can, however, restrict production in the ALR to that which is outdoors in a field or inside a structure that has a base consisting entirely of soil. Should we consider prohibiting cannabis production on our ALR land and that occurs within a structure with a permanent foundation? Do you want me to read that one again?
No, I took it all in. It's just I don't know if I have enough knowledge about that specific field to really.
There's a yes, no, unsure.
I would say unsure. It's not something I have enough to give it a definitive answer on.
If approved in Cache Creek, what should federally licensed cannabis production facilities be buffered from? Residential neighborhoods, daycares, and youth facilities, no buffers. Other cannabis production facilities, community parks, other. Didn't they already ask this?
I feel like it was asked in a different way.
Okay. So that's for the store. This is for the production facilities.
Oh, production? I mean, I think that would, me personally, I think that's a different kind of, you'd want that further away just because I'm sure there's some more control there in what's written in it, but it seems more accessible. I mean, hop a fence.
Right. Okay, so let's say at least daycares and youth facilities, probably residential neighborhoods for the safety of the business.
Yeah.
Okay. Cannabis consumption. Like cigarettes, the province's new regulations prohibit smoking or vaping of cannabis in outdoor recreation areas, including playgrounds, sports fields, and in provincial, regional, and municipal parks, except for designated areas, public buildings, workplaces, or common areas of apartments, condos, or dormitories, and public care facilities like hospitals, within 6 meters of air intakes, windows, and doorways that are attached to places listed above, at and within 6 meters of a bus stop, transit shelter, or similar place marked for passenger loading or unloading, or public patios, for example, a restaurant patio. So, what would you like to see the village further regulate where people can... would you like to see the village further regulate where people can smoke or vape cannabis in the village of Cache Creek? For example, on public sidewalks, or increasing the buffers from entryways or public spaces? Yes, no, or unsure.
It would be between no and unsure, just because I can't think of anywhere specific in Cache Creek that maybe would need that additional. But I mean, that's already a pretty concise list of places that I can't see anywhere else that you would need that. But I don't know Cache Creek enough off the top of my head to be like, oh, well, this place should.
Right.
For sure, but yeah.
Last question. Is there anything else you would like to add about Cache Creek's role in regulating licensed cannabis businesses or cannabis consumption, local land use, and zoning business licensing?
Oh, so this is like an open entry field thing?
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say?
I would just, if anything, if they're gonna go forward on it, it'd be preferred for myself. Like I would want to have kind of a transparency to it, so you can kind of be a part of it and see how it goes. When I was living in New West, we had issues where we were trying to get one. I say it as if I was a part of it. They were trying to put one in, and then they had a whole bunch of hiccups, and no one really knew why, and then it just faltered.
Interesting.
And it was constantly a question of like, I wonder if people had known more, if something could have been done, but they kind of just disappeared. There's one there now, and there's now another one on Queensboro, but the first one they tried to get just faltered, gone.
Well, I went through Merritt the other day, and there was 2 or 3 in that downtown area. But the village of Ashcroft has turned down cannabis legislation, saying, no, we don't want it here. And my understanding is that the Ashcroft Indian Band was going to put one in next to the Esso.
Oh, okay.
Whether that's true or not, I'm not 100% sure. But that was the last I heard about anything going on in Ashcroft. That was the last thing I heard about that. Now, so I'm just going to put in, if you're going to move forward on this, transparency is key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking my long rant into one concisive sentence.
No problem. All right. This question requires an answer. Sorry, it just kicked me back up to another.
Did we miss one?
No? It should just be. Sorry, everybody watching at home. I know. Sorry, I'm just trying to finish this. No, it keeps kicking me back up here.
Can you just minimize the tab and we'll finish it later after the show?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Okay, so now let's get back to our show here. So there are some things happening in our area. So join us to celebrate the return of Paisley Groove to Ashcroft. They are a local band, Dire Heart. So this is from Unity Cafe. They are having another wonderful extravaganza going on with some bands this weekend. So added to open the night for a spectacular night of music in Ashcroft, Saturday, September 12th. Outdoor show. Advanced tickets only. General seating tickets are $20 with social distancing seats of 1 to 6 together. VIP seating tickets is $30, so there are 3 front row chairs and tables. Groups of 2 to 4 must be in your bubble. Unity Cafe and Lounge. Parking lot doors 6. So this is all in the parking lot. Doors open at 6:30. The show starts at 7:30. There are 35 tickets available. You can buy tickets online or at Unity in person. She also says that they'll be selling beer, cider, wine to go into glasses, pop and water only. Washrooms are available. Sanitizing stations are available. There's a stage, bar, and seating, which will be fenced off. So please buy a ticket to enjoy the show. And also, the Anonymous Art Show is starting tomorrow. You can view and bid on the art at the Hub from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday from 9 to 1 and then 4 to 8. You can also view the art online at ashcrofthub.com and call your bids in to Lisa at the front office after Saturday. Bid large, bid often. All the art is amazing, and some are done by local professionals, so make sure that you get your bid in right away. So Troy and Jessica have been working on lots of that today. From what I see, there's 65, 75 canvases?
I think we took photos of about 75 so far, but I think there's still some we haven't finished.
So there's lots of art to bid on. They're all 8x8 little canvases, so get as many as you can. From the province. On Friday, the government announced 121 new cases, including 5 epi-linked cases. Over the weekend, we don't actually have those numbers yet. We are recording this a little bit early, but on our Friday show, we will have all of the new numbers. From the country. This is from Global News. As thousands of children head back to classes this week, Canada's public health officials are keeping a close eye on signs of a resurgence of the coronavirus in communities. A key signal will be the R number, or R naught, or reproduction number, which is a way of rating a disease's ability to spread. From a public health perspective, it can help identify whether or not the spread is manageable. Nationally, that number is now hovering above 1, and Dr. Theresa Tam, Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, at a news conference on Tuesday said, "That's not a good sign," she noted. "We do not want that to happen, so that needs to be monitored very carefully." Canada's daily case numbers have increased recently. According to Tam, the average daily number of people testing positive over the last week has increased by 25% over the previous week. Some provinces have it worse than others. British Columbia has seen a spike in cases months after seeing daily counts drop to single digits. Ontario and Quebec are also seeing a rise in daily reported cases. The tallies come on the heels of back to school for many provinces. Tam and Deputy Chief Public Health Officer Dr. Howard Niju said that the R number needs to keep below 1 for a long period of time to avoid an rapid resurgence. The Public Health Agency of Canada expects higher demand for influenza vaccines amid a possible double whammy of COVID-19 and flu infections. It's recommending provinces and territories consider alternate ways to deliver immunization programs this season. Spokeswoman Maryse Durrett said that the agency has ordered 13 million doses of the flu vaccine compared with 11.2 million last year. The study by University of British Columbia researchers published recently in the Journal of Pediatrics suggested that the COVID-19 pandemic may be motivating more parents to get their children vaccinated for flu. Are you getting your flu shot?
My flu shot?
Yeah.
Once it's available, yeah.
Yeah. And anybody at home, it'd be interesting to hear if you're getting your flu shot or not this year, so please email us at hon@ashcrofthub.com or comment on this video. We'd also just like to hear from you guys, so if you have anything going on, email us, chat with us. It'd be great to hear from everybody and anybody. Now, both Brad Viss and Jackie Taggart have posted their well wishes for a happy Labor Day on their Facebook and Twitter pages. But when I checked just before the show today, we have breaking news. Our local our local MP, Brad Viss, has been appointed as the Housing Shadow Minister for the official opposition. What is a shadow minister? Well, the shadow cabinet or shadow ministry is a feature of the Westminster system of government. It consists of a senior group of opposition spokespeople who, under the leadership of the leader of the opposition, from an alternative cabinet to that of the government, and whose members shadow or mirror the positions of each individual member of the actual cabinet. It is the shadow cabinet's responsibility to scrutinize the policies and actions of the government, as well as to offer alternative policies. The shadow cabinet makes up the majority of the official opposition's front bench. So congratulations to Brad Viss for getting that. I'm sure that everything will be interesting for us to follow you as you move forward in your new position. So that's really all that we have today. So thanks, Troy, for going through that survey with me. Hope everybody is having had a safe long weekend and is having a good week and is ready to go back to school. And we look forward to chatting with you guys again on Friday. So have yourselves a good day. And I need a person in town. Troy, give me a name.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Let's say hi to good old Tyrone Lasky, and congratulations on his. He just got that. What is it called?
I don't know.
Oh, there's like the Villager of the Month thing or whatever.
Oh, the Village Spotlight. Yeah, there's been a few people that have gotten that.
But I think Tyrone just recently
Okay, so Tyrone Lasky,
Lasky. Yeah.
if you're watching, we hope that you're having yourself a fantastic day. Anyway, thanks again, everybody. Stay safe. We'll talk to you guys on Friday.